97.7 FM, The City.
Greetings, blessings, and good fortune, everybody. Here we are again. We are back. We're at we're still at McAllen Creative Incubator, KCYP The City, 97.7 FM. Yes, we are having a great time. We're going out on TuneIn Radio. We're going out on Radio Garden. We're going out on YouTube and Facebook Live, that is. So we probably should have said a prayer, Joe, about the Facebook stuff because our algorithm has been messing around. I had a great interview with a man named Gary Groves last week, and he's here in McAllen as he's running as a Republican, and not only a Republican, but a MAGA Republican. So he wants to make America great also, just like us. Yet, Facebook certainly does not. They want us back into the dark ages of communism and all that stuff that they really do promote. Now, we, of course, don't do that, and we will never do that. So I'm coming at you tonight. But I don't want it just to be me. We need to jump into this because I would like some answers or some maybe collaborative discussion around why it is that things are going on the way they are. And the reason I say this is because here in McAllen, we have had predominantly cheap gas, right? So today, I'm driving around and I see, wow, it was probably a 50 to, depending on where you go, 50 to 80 cent increase overnight in the gallon of gas. So now it's still cheaper than places like communist Illinois, communist California. It's still cheaper than that, but we're at, I think, depending on where you go, $4.16, $4.17 a gallon. Whereas just yesterday we were at 460 something, 469, yeah, 369, 369 or 379, somewhere around there, yeah. As recent as last week, we were at 336, I think it was. It was pretty cheap, and comparatively, right? Not historically, but comparatively to what things are like right now in other places. But the fact of the matter is that whatever they're telling us is going on is a lie. We know it's a lie. Why? Because they always lie. They never tell the truth. They being the fake media, they being the talking heads, they being the economic experts, okay? We are not going to buy that anymore. We won't do it. Why? Because, well, we know where that goes. We know where that goes. And we don't want to go there. We're not going there again. They took us there in 2020 with the stolen election, the overthrown government, the pandemic, all that mess. We're not going there again. No, sir. No, ma'am. We are not going there again. I got some economic data to throw out there at you. But first, we're going to go to the verse of the day. And this one's out of Thessalonians, okay? And this is what you would call a life verse. It is something that we can remember every day, and it will do us a very good turn. It says, "Be joyful always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." Ladies and gentlemen, I am a little bitter, a little salty, if you will, at the way things are going on, but I'm still joyful. I still pray. I give thanks in the circumstances that we're in, that it could always be worse. And I like to think that doing this, I somehow fulfill the will of God, which in other aspects of my life, I probably don't, and I fail in that. So this, at least, is something we can do right here, and right here, ladies and gents. So let's be joyful always. Bitcoin. It's moving up, but it's all fake because it's valued right now, unfortunately, in fiat currency, which really sucks. So it's 79,888 earlier in the day, and we're touching on about 80. It goes up, goes down, whatever. But we're not gonna really worry about that. Silver is 79.24. Again, highly rigged, that market. as is gold at 4,700. Another rigged market is the mortgage industry, the mortgage, where you engage with death at the rate of 6.39 30 years or 5.74 15 years. The system that is surrounding us right now is ugly. The banking system, the fuel system, what makes the world go round, right? It's fuel. Because if you don't have fuel, the things don't get shipped. If they don't get shipped, they don't come to your house. If they don't come to your house, we're now back to the days of hunter foragers, right? Hunter gatherers. So we don't want that. I don't have enough squirrels in my neighborhood to feed me probably for even a day. Hopefully that won't happen. Got some ducks in the park though. Hey Barry, good to see you. Sue, good to see you. Glad you're there. Dad, if you're watching, Jim, Tammy, awesome. Thank you. So thank you for, I see you guys are giving thumbs up and hearts emojis and all that good stuff. Hopefully that'll help our algorithm, which we're probably in the Facebook doghouse, if such a thing exists. I'm there. You know, they got an otter in the doghouse, if you will. Good job right there. So what I'd like to talk about, we'll go into some crypto, right? Because, well, that's what we like to do here. It is not the future. It is the now. Cointelegraph, that's a website, says that JP Morgan and MasterCard make first cross-border U.S. Treasury transfer via XRP Ledger. Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. It is happening. XRP is not only the owner of the railway, it is the owner of the now used railway. So I won't pretend to understand the whole interaction, the whole environment of the treasury market and how they transfer treasuries and all that. I only know that the treasury bonds are in some way or form a staple, a backing to what are called stable coins. Okay, so the stable coins just mimic or are pegged to the US dollar, and they're better than the US dollar in that they're going to help us out with our debt. So when you buy a stable coin to send it overseas, to send it around the world, then what you're really doing is you're buying, in effect, the equal amount of a dollar in treasury bonds. And what are treasury bonds? They're packaged debt. It's what the criminal banking system has done to the United States. That's you and that's me. And they package this debt up, and it's purchased, it's moved, it's I guess it's stabilized in some form or fashion, because if not, well, we can't pay the debt back. And in truth, I don't even think it's owed. I don't even think it's owed at all. 459 says Sue over there. Yeah, that's a little bit higher than here, but who knows if we're going to reach that. It might have been just one of those agreements that Joe was talking off camera in the beginning of when we got here, that he knows somebody at one of those oil companies, and it's not really the companies right now. It's the people at the pump, man. They figure they can put us over the barrel, and they will, and they did. So what are you going to do? You're going to start your own refinery? No. You're going to start your own gas station? Probably not. We just got to remember that, hey, these people are not here to help us. They're here to, basically pilfer, steal. So going on in this Cointelegraph article, it says, for the first time, and global banking infrastructure settled a cross-border transaction of a tokenized fund. The pilot reflects growing collaboration between crypto firms and TradFi, traditional finance, institutions seeking to build faster, lower cost, global payment and settlement systems that run outside of traditional banking hours. So when they say that TradFi is involved, that is, the Federal Reserve System around the world. So they don't want to be left in the dark or left behind when this inevitable mode of payments and so forth, a transmission of value cross borders across the world, when this begins to run quickly and heavily and predominantly, then they don't want to be left out because, well, they're supposed to be the economic experts, as it were, when in truth, they're really just thieves and swindlers, dirty people. And I'm not talking about the banker you have at your branch or anything like that. I'm talking about the people in New York, the people in London, the international bankers that have their hands effectively on the necks of the people of the world, and they just like to throttle us. Well, the fact of the matter is they're going to lose this battle. There's many different reasons I believe this, but one of them is the tokenization of things, meaning at some point, even our homes will be tokenized. You can do what you want with those tokens. You can lose your house if you're really not smart or knowledgeable in whatever it is that you can or might want to invest in. But the fact of the matter is, if you are savvy about it, if you learn about it, you may just be able to gain from it. Think about it. A building somewhere in the world that you would like to purchase doesn't have to be purchased all at once. You could purchase the equivalent of maybe one room, maybe one office in that, based on, how many tokens you buy in that specific place. So the freedom is becoming advanced. It's becoming more prevalent, and it's coming to more people. Are we going to be prepared for it? Most of us probably not. Why? Because we're used to not being bankers. We're used to doing whatever we're doing. But at some point or another, we're all going to be able to look at our finances and say, hey, how can I do this better? How can I make my money make money for me? Which is what, these international bankers have been doing on our backs via theft that they call taxation. I won't go down that rabbit hole right now. This is from Crypto News. Bitcoin operates outside the regulatory system. Arthur Hayes takes on Crypto and Clarity Act. So this Arthur Hayes guy, he seems pretty smart. He seems like somebody who's got it figured out, and he's not afraid to tell his story. So Arthur Hayes told Consensus 2026. So I think that was like a Bitcoin conference or some sort of crypto conference in Miami, I believe it was. That the Clarity Act fundamentally misunderstands what Bitcoin is, and any attempt to fold it into a federal regulatory framework destroys the only thing that makes it valuable. What is that? What is that makes it valuable? Its decentralized nature and the freedom with which you can use it. Okay? When it's regulated, when it's classified, then it's centralized. Right? I mean, who cares? Who is the U.S. government to tell me what to do with my Bitcoin? They're no one. I want them out of my finances. I'm the banker when it comes to Bitcoin. So, out. As my buddy Javier Milei says, afuera. So, Hayes argues that Bitcoin's value derives from operating outside any regulatory apparatus. And he also noted that legislation like the Clarity Act doesn't clarify anything. I agree, Mr. Hayes. I certainly do. There was a Zero Hedge article that I read to prep for the show. And the headline is, The Complicated Reality Behind High Gas Prices. The complicated reality behind. Now, I didn't include anything in the article to speak with you about because, well, it was a pile of horse crap. Jim, good to see you, Jim. Here's the phone holder. If you guys want one, get with me. I'll send you Jim's info. This thing works great. This way, that way, whatever. It works. Better than my old one, that's for sure. So, and he's got other stuff too. Just let me know if you're interested. The gas prices and the reality behind them is that these people, they all wanted to give a reason. The author wanted to give reasons, and there's many. You know how we have these refineries and how there's different levels of crude oil and some need to be refined a little more than others and all that crap, right? It's not that. Maybe perhaps it is a fact that we need more and more modern refineries. This is quite possible. But why is it that we don't have them? There's only one reason. They manipulate the market. They manipulate the price because that manipulates our reality. We can only do so much if the fuel that runs transportation, shipping, things that get to our house is raised to a point where we either can't afford it to put it in our own tanks or everything we buy is so much more expensive because it uses that particular fuel. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not at all new. It's the same old, just something different that the usual suspects stumbled upon, who knows whenever the petroleum boom hit, right? So they want everything petroleum. They don't want anything to be done with things like hemp, right? There was a whole scandal with the Rothschilds. I think it was them, the usual suspects, those people. And that happened in, I think, the early 1900s because hemp they made a vehicle out of it. I think I saw this on X. Ford Motor Company made a hemp vehicle. Apparently it's very strong if you put it in some sort of, so did Cheech and Chong, by the way. They did. You remember that, Joe? And it started on fire. Yeah, that caused a lot of issues on the highway. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, hemp can be used for clothes. Hemp can be used for paper, all that good stuff. Just like these, I'm getting on a sidebar, I know, but just like these electric vehicles. And one is even robbed. They robbed the name of the great man named Tesla. Elon Musk, whatever, he robbed the name and gave us, I'm going to use it, shite. We want Tesla tech. There's no stinking charging stations with Tesla tech. And there shouldn't be. There should not be. But no, you got to slow roll this stuff. I don't know. I'm talking like an impatient person, and I guess I am to many in many issues. I'm very impatient. Not as impatient as some, but I'll tell you what, this is getting ridiculous. Why? Why are we so slow, you might ask? Because there are so many retarded people out there. And I'm using that in the clinical sense. People who watch the news. People who have so many degrees on their wall that they can't think. They go to an institution to teach them not how to think, but they're taught what to think. And they come out and they believe it. They're evangelists for stupidity. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been plagued with this for at least 2 generations. Okay? It's sad, it's sick, and it's got to stop. Here's another fact. I guess, on this gas price thing. 1, it doesn't have to be this way. That's for sure. 2, I think we're going to get out of it. 1, because there's no peak oil. No such thing. Oil is so abundant in this world that there's nothing other than getting it out of the ground that costs in that endeavor. The other thing, another thing, right, is that I think there will be tech being rolled out. I really do. I believe that tech is. Matt, good to see you, Matt. Matt says they kill the investors that try to change the world. Oh yeah, they do. Hey, Matt, how'd that? I'm not even going to joke like that, Matt. I was gonna say, hey, Matt, how's that invention you made? Running your vehicle on water. I won't even say that, Matt. The teams will be at your friggin' door in 10 minutes or something. But if you ever want to go down a rabbit hole, peeps, find out all the people that have run their vehicle on water and what happened to them. Yeah, in fact, if I got a lot of friends there in Buffalo still, and I think I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. The most recent one that I can remember was about 4 or 5 years ago, where there was a mass shooting, supposedly racially based. Yeah, they love doing that. And didn't you know that the guy who got shot, he was a retired Buffalo cop. he had run with a partner of his. He had run his Ford F-150 on water. And the WIVB, I think it was, news out of Buffalo, ran a segment, probably a 4 or 5 minute segment on him running his vehicle on water. And then after that, well, it was a random shooting, they say, a racially motivated shooting, they say. But, just because, he had a lot of melanin doesn't mean that he should have gotten shot, of course. But because he ran his truck on water, he got shot. Now, they will argue that, they being the usual suspects, will argue that with me ad infinitum. But the fact of the matter is, I am right. And if you don't think so, let us please debate it. Barry says, my wife agrees, Matt. Yes, and yes. Matt is right. Guys like Tesla were the heroes. They put a lackey in there. They put an asset in there, and they gave all the credit to him. His name was Thomas Edison. And everybody knows that. Oh, we were taught about that. We were taught about good old Tom, right? I don't ever remember in school learning about Nikola Tesla, his genius, the inventions that he created. But I'll sure tell you, he's making a lot of money for Elon, or at least his name is. This is out of the Gateway Pundit. This happened, and it was beautiful. Tennessee Democrat state senator stands on a desk, fights with the sergeant at arms after Republicans pass a new congressional map eliminating Dem district. Ladies and gents, this whole redistricting thing is it's a scam, a sham. I can't believe this is in our system. We got to have a better way of doing this stuff. When the communists are in, then they do it however they want. So it's the majority communist representation in the state. When the backstabbing Republicans go in there, they do the same thing and make it so that they have the state. The communists are better at it. They just are. Just because communism has so much. There's so much out there that they have to draw from, and it's a tenet of communism that you walk in lockstep. The traitorous Republicans, in my view, not all of them, but most of them, traitorous Republicans like Murkowski. She's murky. Yeah, that should be her nickname, Murky Murkowski. So people like that, right? Thune. Hey, Thune. Cornyn, we got a rat, right? We got one right here in Texas. Anyway, what we have going on is this. They redistricted Tennessee, and now it's all red, right? So normal people don't get away with standing on a desk and attacking the sergeant at arms. But you know why she did, and I don't even have to tell you why. Here's the article. All hell broke loose on Thursday after Tennessee Republicans passed a new congressional map eliminating the only Democrat district. The new map carves up Memphis-based seat held by a longtime rep Steve Cohen, a D out of Tennessee, into 3 districts, spreading the Democratic. They're not Democratic. They're Democrats. They're certainly not Democratic. They're communist. Voters into more rural Republican districts that stretch hundreds of miles east. It further splits the Nashville metropolitan area, the state's other Democratic, they are not Democratic, the other Democrat, I fixed that, stronghold, into 5 districts. So this is just a game, everybody, a game. Jaime, good to see you. Oh, Jaime, I'm sorry to hear that you have a drinking problem. Maybe when you get back to HEB, they'll have more there. I don't know. I hope you didn't clean them out. Anyway, what do we got on this one? Okay, so far, not that much. But here's the thing. With these redistricting strategies, right? Who is that in? And again, I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant here. Is that codified in the founding documents? Or is that something that everybody just agreed on? I'm not sure. I really don't know. How could this be so janky, man? It's and for years they've used this duality the usual suspects own both parties, and they want to come in and work out for 5, 10 years, right? And then when everybody's just up to here with their antics and thievery, they give us the other party. Oh yeah, great. These people are going to help us. They don't help us. They're not built to help us, right? They're there to drain us. They're there to keep us down, oppressed, whatever you want to call us, right? So the fact of the matter is, it's like wrestling. And that's just what politics is, wrestling. There's already a script. They already know. I mean, this lady, and she was large. She was large. She was on a desk, and it looked like I thought she was going to give the atomic elbow to the sergeant at arms. I really did. I mean, we are watching wrestling, ladies and gents. Thankfully, we got a guy here in Texas that is acting on a common sense, we hope, a common sense basis. And here's what I'm talking about. This is off of X because there's regular people. There's a lot of bots on X, right? Like everything else. There's a lot of regular people too. But this happened to be Greg Abbott. He's not a regular person, but here he says, a city-owned water park in Grand Prairie, that's in Texas, openly advertised a Muslims-only event closed to the general public. Yeah, that's religious discrimination, says Greg Abbott. It's unconstitutional. I signed HB 4211 into law, banning Muslim-only no-go zones in Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, don't for a second think this is only Texas. Okay? The city must cancel the event and commit to never allowing something like it again by May 11th, or lose $530,000 in state grants. That's how you got to deal with these people. They steal from us all the time. Block their funding. They will come in line with real democratic, real republic, real constitutional logic. Okay? But we absolutely must hold them to account. We cannot, as average little people, we can't do it. Right? But the fact of the matter is, we're going to have to change our ways as a nation or we don't survive. So here's another one out of X. MJ Truth Ultra says that there's a flashback, and we're going to get to this. We're going to speak about the theme of this particular post in a little bit more detail a little later, okay? But here's a flashback. He says, actor Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, died 7 days before he did from hantavirus. Nobody said a thing about hantavirus then. Ladies and gentlemen, and I know I'm probably going to be skating the algorithm here because they're doing it again. They want to scare us with another pandemic right around the area of a time frame of an important election. Does anybody see the pattern? Is there anybody who doubts what they're trying to do? Again, we've already got idiots telling us to mask up, okay? They want us obedient and dead. Obedience until death, okay? They probably, and I think somebody even advertised that Pfizer already has a solution, okay? And I mean solution as in a brew, much like a witch's brew of pharmacopoeia, okay? That's the Greek term for witchcraft that we use for the word pharmacy, right? And the Bible warns us about not getting involved with pharmacopoeia, right? Well, a huge segment, unfortunately, of our government works on pharmacopoeia. And I say government loosely. What I really mean is controlling agencies like pharmaceutical companies, right? The medical industrial complex. So they have already something ready to jab into your DNA, to alter your DNA and call it a vaccine. That's what they're going to call it. Certainly won't be that. It certainly won't be effective. If, the earlier one was in 2020, certainly not effective and certainly not in any way safe. So they've got it ready to kill you with if you're willing to basically volunteer to be their victim. You can line up and, bury your arm and get what a lot of people are getting. Tyler Ray, good to see you, Tyler. How you doing, brother? We are just talking about the new pandemic that they're cooking up for us, and we're not going to buy it. This hantavirus. But hey, they're very original, these people. It's not bats this time. It's rats. Okay? They only changed one letter. We've never really accused them of being original. We've only accused them of being criminals, right? Of being murderers and, perpetrating crimes against humanity. But certainly they will not be labeled as originals. That is for sure. So instead of bats this time, it's going to be rats. I wonder if we're going to get a coin with a rat on it. Like the 2020, I think it was the quarter, has the bat, the year of the bat or something like that on it. Yeah. Coincidence. Just a coincidence. Don't worry about it. MJ Truth Ultra also posted this. That this was in what was that show? Shoot, I had it written down here. From the Smoking Man was in it. Mulder, all those. Barry says, check out the kill switch ban bill on vehicles in Congress. Talk about surveillance state. Ford has a patent on some crazy technology. Yeah, it has something to do with you paying attention or not. Sam, ticks too. Yes. So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this. Sam, I know you have. The ticks, and you just put it there, Sam, about making us allergic to meat. Okay, and I have a coworker that actually happened to. He can't eat meat anymore from a tick bite. Okay, the government apparently, and bad actors within said government, are dropping these in box form around the country, ranches, fields, wherever they want to do it, right? And we are being attacked from every angle. Do I believe the world is doomed? Well, I mean, prophetically in the Bible, yes. But then God's going to bring it back and under his rule. However, do I think our way of life is doomed? Yes, I do. Do I think that some people have a solution? Yes, I do. And I believe the good guys are going to win in this case. I can't, of course, tell anybody else what to believe, but that happens to be me. But yeah, it does. It will make us allergic to meat if we get bit by these ticks, and it gives us. So if the tick has that certain disease, and maybe they were designed to have that certain disease, right? So Jim says, what about the anti-spike protein treatment? Are you talking about the Zelenko protocol, Jim? That great doctor who had cancer and died. You figure out if it was planned or not. But Dr. Zelenko had an anti-spike protein treatment, but it was like a protocol. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about. I don't know if it's a pill or whatever. Barry says, yep, it's crazy, Sam. It is. It is crazy. They have these methods at their disposal. I mean, we're talking also about chemtrails. Have you ever seen the rubber grommet that's on the back of the dispersal unit of a chemtrail plane? And they're still denying this stuff, right? No, it's chemtrails. It's contrails. Look, it's in the air because of the air and the coldness. And I'm a retard. I went to school for 17 and a half years. And, gee, I've got 4 degrees. I know more than you. I mean, I'm, kind of elaborating a little bit. But just a little bit. Just a little bit. You can go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning and see hash marks of chemtrails above your home. Right? It's not nothing. It's something. And now all these ticks, right? So it's how about stop spraying our skies, says Barry. You better believe it. You better believe it. And then again, you got so you saw it on the Sean Ryan's show, says Jim, about the protein treatment. I hope that it's valid. Now, I guess this is a sidebar of mine. I have serious reservations about Sean Ryan. I have serious reservations about Tucker Carlson. I have serious reservations about Candace Owens. These people have made a lot of money, right? And I don't know that. And I guess their caveat is this. They have guests on, and they're not responsible for what the guests say. Sure, I'll give them that. But what's the selection process of those guests, right? last week. And if you guys didn't see it, give it a shot, man. Who's running for a representative seat here in Texas, and he wants to eliminate property tax. And he's got a plan for it, and he's got the numbers for it, and he's got this, that, and the other. I interviewed him, Mr. Gary Groves. The runoff is going to be next week. I think next the 18th, I think. And the thing is, I will put out, and I'll do it again, the invitation to anybody on the other side, the blue side, right? If they want to come on and tell me that if he or she wins, that I'm going to be preaching DEI and we're going to force it. They can tell me whatever they want. I'll interview them. That's not a problem. Barry says, we saw tic-tac-toe pattern over our home and pasture. Yeah, making money doesn't make you wrong. That's right. You're absolutely right. But here's what makes you wrong, Barry. When you eliminate the opportunity for other people to make money and you do it from a position of power. And that's what I'm talking about when I say these international bankers need to go. And Sam, as well as anybody I've ever heard articulate, knows exactly that needs to happen. I just think it's going to happen in one way or another, but it can't be fast. Why can't it be fast? Because of those same people with 17 years of institutionalization that they call education, with degrees all over their walls in everything from, gender studies to medieval soil sampling. They believe that they have the key to, happiness, and it is, mutilating your children so that they have changed into something that God didn't make them. Those people are out there, but they're much fewer than we are led to believe. I'll tell you that. So where I'm going with the Sean Ryans of the world and all them is just this. There's another guy. I was talking about Tucker and others. Making money doesn't make you wrong. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'll give you that, Barry. It doesn't make them wrong, but here's what makes. Let me give you an example. And I didn't mention him in the first one, right? Nick Fuentes. Guy's got a huge following, makes a ton of money, right? What was he doing on January 6th? You might know. I do. I know what he was doing on January 6th. What was he doing? He had a bullhorn screaming like another man. I don't think this other man had a bullhorn, Ray Epps, to storm the Capitol. Storm the Capitol, they yelled. Nick Fuentes is a little light in the keister. He's a little weight. He's maybe one of them. I don't know. But he had a bullhorn, and he was yelling for everyone to storm the Capitol. You know what makes those two special? They never got arrested. Yeah, I guess Ray Epps got questioned. They never got arrested, and they never spent time in solitary like the old ladies that went through the velvet ropes after the Capitol Police escorted her and others into the Capitol. Ray Epps, Nick Fuentes were yelling for people to storm the Capitol. Why? Because they're assets, ladies and gentlemen. Too many people are already onto the retarded fake news. So nobody significant watches CNN, MSNBC, Fox. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Okay? They're just trying to distract us. Now, people caught on to that. So they go to the socials maybe, or, X, which was Twitter and all that. They want to look at news maybe on the internet. I don't know. And then, of course, the usual suspects weaponized, created an asset, and called it Tucker Carlson. They called it Nick Fuentes. They called it Candace Owens. They called it Sean Ryan. And those are just the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Sam says, did Fuentes come out as a Dem? Yes. Yes, he did. Yes. Thank you, Sam. Or was that AI? That was true. Saw a video a couple days ago of him saying that. Of course. We knew it all along. I mean, there are certain things that you can see in a person after listening to them in, for a longer length of time than just a segment, a reel, or one show maybe. But after you listen to these people for a while, they'll tell you who they are. They'll show you who they are. Okay? Tucker Carlson's dad was 3 letters his whole career. Tucker Carlson is 3 letters, man. I know I got sucked in on him too. It seemed like, hey, he gets fired from Fox. So, the usual suspects didn't want him there because he's saying too much good stuff or, too much truth or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, he's not working out either. If you want truth, yeah, maybe he does. Maybe he hides his agenda in reams of truth, perhaps. I have watched the shows, and a lot of things that he says make sense. I appreciate what he's doing to show people certain things, showcase truth in certain areas, but in others, man, wow. If anybody, in my opinion, you can differ. Anybody who comes out against what Donald Trump is trying to do in truly making America great again is one of two things: either supremely deceived or communist. One of those two things. If you're a communist, there's really no hope of for me anyway, of reforming their religion, meaning they take it seriously. When you have training in certain areas, you learn about what are called true believers, okay? And many of these communists are true believers and will not be swayed. Jody, good to see you. A little late to the show. That's fine. Better late than never. You're here, getting ready for back surgery in the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are the praying kind, let's throw up a few for Jody. Thank you, Father. Thank you for bringing Jody to the show and showing us and telling us what it is that he's about to face tomorrow. It's not an easy thing. It's not a guaranteed thing. But Father, please, in the name of Jesus, Lord, please be with not only Jody, but be with the doctors, Lord. Be with them. May they be guided by your Spirit. May they be highly attuned to the job at hand, and may their work make Jody a more healthy man, a healthier human, that he might be able to continue to work, continue to do the things that he loves to do, and to serve you, Lord. We thank you. Amen. So, Jody, all good sentiment to you. Blessings. May you have a quick recovery, and may it be a complete success. So, I was just about to jump on this MJ Truth Ultra, and a lot of people have some things about this guy too. But anyway, he does point out some interesting stuff. So in the show, oh shoot, what is it, guys? Help me out. Who was Mulder in? The cigarette smoking man. What was the name of that show? It was a big X-Files. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. So in the X-Files, it was season 6. So the cigarette smoking man finally revealed the syndicate's alien deal. Texas hantavirus outbreak. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Bet it does. They tell you who they are, and they tell you what they're going to do to you. Was cover for human-alien hybrid program to survive impending colonization. Okay? There's a whole different subject here, guys. This human-alien hybrid thing, right? Season 6, the cigarette smoking man revealed the syndicate had learned of an impending alien colonization of Earth and chose cooperation over resistance. In exchange for aiding the extraterrestrials, the aliens supplied the group with alien DNA. The syndicate then used this genetic material to secretly engineer human-alien hybrids intended to survive the coming invasion/apocalypse. Now, to me, this is just smoke and mirrors. A lot of noise, very little signal. Why? Because with the jabs that went out were DNA, RNA, I should specify, altering substances. Oh, they claim no. Fauci, I won't say it. Kids are watching. Fauci says no before he says yes. Jody says amen. Ladies and gents, they are altering the human genome, or at least trying, because aliens. Well, here's something about this whole alien mess. This is not new. The Bible has told us about interdimensional beings. The Bible has told us about extraterrestrials. They have invaded our world since the beginning, literally the beginning of this world. It hasn't probably abated and may even be burgeoning. Okay? So what I'm saying is that they're going to lie about that. When do they ever tell the truth? So what I believe it to be is another operation by the satanic cult, the synagogue of Satan. You might think of one thing, I might think of another, but I truly believe that it is alive and well, unfortunately, in our world. And they are unhappy with humanity because we are God's children. And they hate God. They believe in their savior, his name's Lucifer, to be the original rebel. And God being an overbearing, whatever they say he is. Those are their beliefs. You don't have to take my word for it. Look it up. Another thing to scare people, says Sam. You better believe it. Barry says, Men in Black, great movie. They got to tell you. Yeah. So maybe those things exist, right? But way back when I decided I was going to concentrate on things that actually affect my life. And maybe those things do affect my life in one way or another. I can't change them. But I believe that, and this is one of the inspirations that brought me to do this show. If I can keep one family from going bankrupt, okay, and I'm not a financial advisor, and I certainly won't say that. What I want to do is broadcast ideas that a thinking person, not, believe me, educated people and thinking people are two different things, mutually exclusive sometimes. So a thinking person can alter their habits, be they spending habits or personal habits. They can alter the conduits through which their finances go to an extent where they can protect themselves and their families against financial ruin, which most people say, oh, well, what about, the soul going to heaven? Oh, I believe that. And I'm hopefully helping people out with that too. That's my true mission in this life as an ambassador, if I'm doing anything correct for Jesus Christ. So when I'm talking about these decisions we can all make, I would like to put these ideas out there and explain to people how I arrived at the decisions I did and why I did so. Eric, good to see you, Eric. Glad to see you can make it. We're talking about this whole alien scandal thing, and I'm saying it's nothing new. Been here since the Bible. The Bible's told us a lot about these interdimensional beings. Genesis 6 is a great start. Yes, it is. It says that the sons of God left their domain, right? They came down. They saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they had children by them. These were the men of renown. These were the giants, otherwise known as the Nephilim, okay? It's in the Bible, ladies and gentlemen. It happens. They changed the genome of humans, right? They made and created, through human women, the Nephilim. This is why in the Old Testament, God said, destroy them all. Destroy even their livestock. Why? Because they were genetically messing around with everything. Their idea in the human realm was to so corrupt the human genome that the Messiah could not come through humans, and we would be doomed to the fate that they suffer, which is a life without God. Okay? But God had his people, the people Israel. Certainly nothing to do with the state over there right now. The modern state of Israel has nothing to do with this biblical account. So these people listened or didn't listen, kind of like you and me. We either listen to God or don't listen to God, right? And it might even change across days because we're human. Now, they were told many times to kill entire villages, entire kingdoms of people, right? But the atheists think, oh, because he was an angry God, he was a vengeful God. No, they weren't really human. Okay? This whole hybrid thing is not new. Just like New Age religions, they're not new, man. They're freaking sorcery. They're witchcraft. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to wake up. Okay? There is nothing new under the sun. See a comment here. Eric says, I investigate cryptid sightings in Oklahoma and have seen weird stuff fly over in the night. Barry says fallen angels. Eric, to that. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Now, the cryptids, have you seen anything from L.A. Marzulli? That guy is awesome. He does the investigation on the elongated skulls and stuff like that we see in Egyptian, what do they call them, steles and stuff like that. Yeah, that's amazing. The crystal skulls, all that crazy stuff. If you're investigating that kind of stuff, you probably bumped into L.A. Marzulli. He's got a huge series of videos on this stuff. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, it's not new. What they want to bring that is new it's not new either, but it will be fresh. Fear. They need a scare event. They want us to be afraid. They want us scared because when we're scared, we're not thinking. Okay? When you're in institutionalized education, you're not thinking. When you're scared, you're not thinking. They love non-thinking people because they can do whatever they want to us, and we will never respond in the contrary. How many people do you know like this? I know you know them. Are they hopeless? No, they're not. No human is hopeless, and God tells us that, right? God has ways we have no idea of. His ways are higher than ours. Do not lose faith. And going back to our verse of the day, be joyful always. Pray continually. Give thanks in all circumstances. For this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Does that just mean us? No. God wants good things for everybody. Will everyone take them? No. Sadly, no. Okay, so Eric, if you haven't heard of L.A. Marzulli, look him up. You will be very, very happy in the work that he's done. Bigfoot stuff. Hey, that's yeah, and you might have a different opinion, Eric, if we go to the Bigfoot thing. And I left the Bigfoot and the UFO stuff off a while back because it doesn't really affect my life. But it is interesting. I'll give you that. So the Bigfoot thing, the best research I've heard on that is that they're basically interdimensional, meaning they're not quite well. Obviously, they're not human, right? Although I have gone outside without my shirt a few times, and people have called Sasquatch sightings. That said, they're not human, but sometimes they're hard to find. Do they exist? I don't know. Do they not exist? I don't know either. But if they do, I think there's something to that interdimensionality. Just as I guess you could call it a jumping off point, I guess. Now, where I'm going with this, and I'm going to wrap this up in a little bit because we're almost done with the show. And I thank all of you for watching and contributing now. And those of you who are watching, going to watch later, our last week's Gary Groves interview got, I think, 260 views 2 days after the interview. So I know a lot of you are watching. A lot of you are checking it out post live, right? Which is great. I very much appreciate that. So to wrap this all up, I want to let everybody know, and it goes along with the verse of the day, right? We can have joy during these crazy times. We can't let them drive us literally out of our mind because we have to center ourselves. And the only way I found is to center myself on Jesus Christ. You can do whatever you want to do. You are a free agent in this world. You are free to decide what you will. You are free to decide what your family will do. I will not take that freedom away because my example, God himself, won't take that freedom away. Communist regimes will take that freedom away, okay? Muslims will take that freedom away if they get in power. I can never, ever condone that because my God gives us freedom to do whatever, including fail, including go to hell. So I am asking that we remember. That's all I'm asking. I'm not demanding anything here. I'm asking that we remember that if we can center ourselves, remind ourselves of who we are, and don't let these outside things drive us crazy because they can. I know because, yeah, maybe I have been crazy. But the fact of the matter is that I have gone off the rails sometimes in my thinking process, not in conspiracy theory or anything like that, but in the whole idea that we are hopelessly doomed. They call that dooming. I don't want to doom. And that we have no alternatives. I would imagine most of us do have alternatives if, a lot of the audience is probably not vaxxed. And if you are vaxxed, you probably regret it for whatever reason. But the fact of the matter is, we still have this freedom. Let's not give it up in fits of madness. Sam says, people in government want us to look at them as higher authority than God. You are right. Absolutely. And worship government. That's why they want God out of everything. And they put down Christians, but not Islam and other religions. Sam, you hit the nail on the head, man. You hit the nail on the head. And it's up on the screen, too, Sam's comment. Thank you. Thank you for that. They do want to be not only our rulers with an iron fist, but our God. In the Bible, this is perfectly described. How does the Bible describe this? The spirit of the Antichrist. We only think, when we think of that term, we only think of one guy that's going to come and fulfill the prophecy. I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but what I'm saying is there were many antichrists. There are many antichrists, and that spirit, unfortunately, thrives in places like government. I'll go over this analogy one more time. If you go to a basketball game, you're going to see people you rarely see. They're going to be 6'8", 7'2", 7'4", 7'6". They're going to be crazy tall. Why? Because those genetic traits give you a much better chance at success on the basketball court. So those people will show up in those certain areas. When you go to Washington, D.C., you can be assured that you are surrounded by psychopaths. Because in politics, psychopaths succeed. They win in politics, okay? Because they care about no one. They can cry while they laugh inside, and they can cry inside while they're laughing outside. Probably never cry because they don't think anything about you. Barry says, don't put down our greatest ally or you may be arrested. You are absolutely right, Barry. And I'm sorry that there was, maybe I said a little too much there. But the fact of the matter is, our greatest ally is not who we think they are. Let's just put it that way. Not at all who they tell us they are. Their actions speak much louder than words. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to wrap up. And as one of the few radio greats I know, Joe Martinez taught me one time, that at the midpoint, at the beginning, and the midpoint and the end, you let them know where you're coming from. We're coming from KCYP, the city, 97.7. The studio's the station of here in McAllen, Texas, the McAllen Creative Incubator. You might have been hearing all kinds of music going on. They got it right next door to us here. We don't have AC in the building. They don't treat Joe right, but maybe I'm part of that. I don't know. Maybe they don't like me either. But anyway, here we are. We're going off on YouTube. We're going off on Facebook. We're going off on TuneIn Radio and Radio Garden apps. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for contributing. All of you that were throwing in good stuff there. Thank you. And all of you who are watching later, I thank you also. Because the more information we get out from us, the little people, the more information I think there is for people to make an educated, I don't like that word educated anymore, but a good decision. Okay? So have a great week. God bless you. God bless your families. And God bless America. The Otter's out.
This is the Bitcoin Otter